Welcome to the Pastor's Podcast. Good to have you with me this Thursday morning, and I hope that you've had a wonderful midweek service. We had a great service last night, and a couple of people saved. One person baptized last night in the service. That's exciting. That always make a midweek service kind of really exciting, kind of turn that into an evangelistic type of meeting, and always looking forward to God working in every service. There is no service that God cannot work. That's why we always have to be expecting for souls to be saved. And I saw last night that one of my good friends, Brother Beaumont, is either last night or Sunday night, he had a couple of people saved in his services. And I enjoy reading those things about people being saved in church. And that's exactly what we want, is people being saved. That's why we have church, but that people can't get saved if we don't bring people to church. So I would encourage you to do that. And let's have a good time. Hey, I want to also introduce my second volume of Teach Us to Pray. It is out. If you'll go to opazjournal.com or opazbookstore.com, I'll put it down in the comments of my Facebook. There is you can get the book right now for the remainder of this month for $10. It's my second volume, volume 1 and 2. They normally sell for $14.99. I'm going to sell it for $10 for the rest of the month. You're going to have to put down intro sale as the coupon, and you can get that for $10, and I'd encourage you to do so. Volume 2, 20 chapters, 190-something pages long. It'll be a great help to you, and the book is out, and so I would encourage you to get that if you can. Again, opazbookstore.com, Teaching on Prayer, Volume 2. Now, there's 2 volumes of this, so there's about total of 40 chapters. Now, if I'm a pastor and I'm wanting to do something on prayer, this was a series I taught our church on a Wednesday night. Now you can take it and turn it into a series for Sunday school. You can do whatever you want to do, but I'd encourage you. I believe it'll be a great help to you. Again, go to opazbookstore.com, Teaching on or Teach Us to Pray, Volume 2. You'll see it right there in the very, I think, first book at the bottom right there. So I'd encourage you to come or to get that if you can. I believe that it will be a great help to you. Well, today, let's talk about the greatest regret. In Ezekiel chapter 2 and verse 5, the scripture says, and they, whether they will hear, whether they will forbear, for they are a rebellious house, yet shall know that there hath been a prophet among them. You see, there are 2 types of people in every church. There are those who hear and do, and then there are those who hear and refuse to do. Now, when God talked about Israel, he warned them that one day they would know they had a prophet among them. But their knowledge of this came too late because they rebelled against that prophet. Now, God told Ezekiel to preach right, even if they didn't listen, because one day when they lost everything and they looked back, God said they would know that there was a prophet that was among them and that what he said was true. Now, I'll tell you what's sad. It's sad that many people have lost everything before they realize what they had. Many people have moved from a great church to a dead church only to realize that what they had when they were at that greater church. Many have left the great preacher to go to a preacher who's more agreeable to their desires, only to realize they lost a great man of God who told them exactly what they needed to hear. Now, you can always justify a move away from God's blessings, but you can never remove the regret that you should have stayed once you're gone. Many have justified a move away from God's blessings only to look back and regret wishing they had stayed as they look at what their foolish decision brought them to. Now, there is a reason many have come to this great regret that could have been avoided. Now, I want to share some things with you this morning that take people to the great regret of knowing what they had when it is too late. First, they didn't let their pastor be their pastor while they had a great pastor. Now, I've had some pastors in my lifetime, and the one thing some very great pastors. One thing I'm very thankful for is that I was not so arrogant and so focused on what I know that I never went to them for advice. I believe every pastor, and some of them are already in heaven right now, but every pastor I've ever had, I've always made sure I've gone to them for advice. If I had not let my pastor be my pastor, I would have made some very foolish decisions that would have led me to regret. Now, you have to understand, In some of these churches, I was an evangelist, a successful evangelist. I didn't have to go to them, but I did because I knew the value of having a pastor. The worst thing you can do is not to let your pastor to be your pastor. God's given you a pastor to guide you, and you need to learn to listen to him and go to him for advice. Stop going to him to inform him, and stop going to him or stop avoiding him because you think you know what he's going to say. These people had Ezekiel in their presence, but they never went to him for advice to their regret. You will one day know you had a man of God in your presence when you look back at where your foolish decisions have brought you because you refused to let your pastor be your pastor. Second, they refused to listen to the truth. So first, they didn't let their pastor them. Second, they refused to listen to the truth. So truth can hit some people in the face, but they will never know it because they think they know it all. I've been around this probably more about young people who've grown up around in a Christian home more than anything else, that they can tell you everything, but they're not doing anything. Truth presented cannot help anyone if they're not willing to listen to truth. I've known people, I've pastored people that know everything. Doesn't matter what you say. They know it all. I've got it all figured out. But boy, their life sure is unstable. Now, truth cannot help a person who already has their mind made up. You will find regret in your future if you refuse to listen to the truth because you already made up your mind. You know what's amazing to me in my church? The crowd that listens to me the most is the older generation. That's always interesting to me. They're older than I am. They've been through life, yet they come to their pastor and they say, "Preacher, can you give us some advice?" I find it's often the younger generation who kind of avoids and just wants to make decisions on the whim, and they foolish decisions. They end up then all of a sudden they want you to be a pastor to pull them out of their mess. You'd been wise to listen to the truth and let your pastor pastor you. Third, they didn't realize what they had while they had it. There are scores of people who have sat in great churches and took for granted what they had, only to regret every moment of God's blessings that they were not a part of it because they sat on the sidelines. If you're in a place where God's blessings are prominent, you'd be wise to soak up every moment of those blessings. Be a part of what brings those blessings, because one day you will look back and regret when those blessings are gone, wishing you had not sat on the sidelines. Be a part of what God is doing. Oh, I've sat under Dr. Jack Hyles and his ministry there, and boy, I saw the great works, and I didn't just see it; I was a part of it. I was in evangelism, but I'd get home on the weekend. I'd make sure I was home on those big days, and I was there. And I'd work on the bus routes. I'd find a bus route to work on, and I'd go soul winning. You want to know why? I wanted to be a part of it. I didn't want to just sit in the sideline and say, "Well, I saw it." No, I wanted to be a part of it. Let me tell you something. Don't be a sideline Christian. Get involved with what God is doing in your church. You won't have to live with the great regret, wishing you not sat in the sidelines while God was working. Many a person can tell you about what they saw, but they can't say there's a part of it. Oh, what a great regret this is for many people. Don't let that be you. Get involved where you are. Let your pastor pastor you. Let the truth that is spoken to you, listen to it and do it, and then get involved. And you'll never have to worry about the great regret of wishing, "Well, I wish I would have." Don't ever live that way. Just do what's right now. You don't have to worry about it. Well, my friend, I hope this is a great help to you today. Now let's remember today, be good to everyone. Everyone's having a tough time.